Hey thrifters, Dan the Thrift Man here. Hey, today we're going to do a tabletop talk about some items that I've picked up at the thrift store recently and some interesting things about them. Okay, here's some VHS tapes that I've picked up over the years, and the interesting thing about them is you might recognize the titles as Disney films. And you would be right, they are Disney films. But if you look at the cases aren't the traditional Disney clamshell, for one thing. It's a white clamshell, but it's not like the Disney clamshells that most Disney films come on or come in. And the other thing is, where does it say Disney on here at all? I mean, if you look at this one, The Legend of Lobo, definitely a Disney film. And King of the Wolf Pack, he matched the strength and courage against man and beast. Nothing that says Disney on here at all. Nothing on the side that says anything about Disney. And then you look at the back, and there's a little write-up about the movie on the back and different things. And then right here in the corner says Anchor Bay, and that's the company that actually released this Disney film. Right here is the only place you see Disney anywhere on this case at all, is right here in the lower left-hand corner. And I guess in the late 90s, early 2000s, Disney had an agreement with Anchor Bay, and they had this agreement that they would release some of Disney's films on VHS. Which was kind of unusual. Disney usually released their own films, but there must have been some financial incentive to allow this company, Anchor Bay, to release these films, and they got some sort of cut of the proceeds that they would get when they would sell these films on VHS. So Here's one you can keep your eye out for. It's The Legend of Lobo. And then we've got One Little Indian. Oh, I've actually made a DVD of this one. I need to get that out of there so you can see the cover. Hold on. Okay, that's better. One Little Indian. Starring James Garner, Vera Miles, Jodie Foster. Definitely a Disney film. Again, on the back is Anchor Bay in this corner, and down here somewhere it says Disney. It's a Disney film. I mean, even on the tape itself, there's nothing here that would make you think that it was a Disney film. But it is. So, One Little Indian on VHS. And then another James Garner film from Disney. It's the Castaway Cowboy. I did watch this one day, and that's not too bad. It's kind of a good film. I like James Garner. So, again, nothing to tell you that it was put out originally by Disney. And again, Anchor Bay in the corner there. So now here is a weird, odd little film that Disney did called Return to Oz. I haven't watched this one in a while, but it was kind of weird, kind of scary when I was a kid when I watched this originally. Not what you would think of a sequel to The Wizard of Oz would be. And again, down in the corner, Anchor Bay. Now here is one that I've done a little bit of reading on. It's the black hole. Now, from what I've found out, that this was the first really good transfer of the black hole film to VHS. It's widescreen, it is high quality, and the first company to actually put this out in something that you would really want to watch was Anchor Bay. Anchor Bay did it. So that's the story about the black hole. Again, this is Maximilian Schell, Anthony Perkins, Robert Forster, Joseph Bottoms, Yvette Mignot, Ernest Borgnine. Interesting film, not the best, but it was one of Disney's attempts to get into the science fiction genre. So that's one to look out for when you're at the thrift store. I don't see many of these, so you may go a long time before you actually find one of these. The movie Big Red, trained to be a champion, destined to be a hero. Warm, sentimental, and affectionate, the San Francisco Chronicle. And again, as I did before, Anchor Bay put it out. Okay, here's Napoleon and Samantha. Jodie Foster again. Jodie Foster seemed to show up in a lot of Disney films early on. Michael Douglas and Johnny Whitaker. And I think this is the one where actually Jodie Foster got hurt by one of the lions that were in the movie, and she got, I guess, mauled by one of them. So that was probably a scary little thing to happen. Anyways, I think some of these films were put out early when Disney first put out VHS movies, but then they probably didn't have any reason to think that they could sell these movies because they probably weren't the most popular movies that they had in their list of movies that they could potentially put out on VHS. So they probably thought, well, let's let Anchor Bay put them out, take the risk of investing the money and the marketing and all that, and put it out there, and we'll just benefit by taking some of their money if they sell any. So, and the last one is one that I always enjoyed, was Charlie the Lonesome Cougar. This is always been one of my favorites, and just as before, it's put out by Anchor Bay as well. So these are the ones that I'm sure there's more out there that I haven't found yet. But if you're looking for, some Disney movies, don't always look for the Disney logo on the side, because there's movies on VHS out there and probably DVD as well, that are put out by different companies, and they're worth buying. They're worth picking up because, if nothing else, they're rare, and you just won't probably ever see it again if you don't buy it when you see it. So anyways, let's go on to the next item. Okay, the next item I want to talk about are these compilation videos called the Cartoon Classics Limited Gold Edition, and also the Limited Edition 2 Cartoon Classics. There was 2 releases, 1984 and 1985, and these were originally retailed for the breakthrough price of $29.95, which for back then was a breakthrough price because a lot of videos were $39.95, $49.95 and up. So this was a kind of a breakthrough. It is what they call a compilation video or VHS because it contains like an hour of animated short films, and so there's 6 or 7 films on each cassette, and this particular one, of course, is the mini. I just noticed I don't have the Mickey one, so I'm gonna have to probably get online somewhere and try to find one, because you just don't find these at the thrift stores anymore. I mean, I can't remember the last time I bought one of these at a thrift store, so it's kind of rare to find them. So if you do see them, grab them, because you probably won't ever see them again. This particular one, really good condition. There's, they didn't do too many cartoons with just Minnie, so a lot of these, of course, have Mickey and other characters in it, but each one focuses on a different character or a different series of animated short films. So that's Minnie. And then we have this one in that same series, the limited gold edition series. This one is Disney's Best, the Fabulous 50s. And so this particular one isn't really about a certain character. These are just, one short film that they made with a certain group of characters. This one has, for example, one called Noah's Ark, one called Lambert the Sheepish Lion, another one called Pigs is Pigs, another film called Toot, Whistle, Plunk, and Boom. So, and you can see the illustrations there on the back. And a lot of these too had like a little intro before they played the cartoons, which usually tells you a little something about the films, and is a nice little thing to have to tell you, kind of give you the history. Here's one. This is actually a beta version, which I still do have a beta VCR. This one is all about Pluto. And of course, if you know anything about beta, they're smaller. They were actually higher quality video than the VHS versions. So it's kind of nice to have these beta versions as well. Then we have Donald, one of the really fun characters in the Disney cartoon universe, and this is a VHS, and you can see some of the illustrations on the back of the cartoons that are in here. This one has, for example, Donald's cousin Gus, one called the Riveter, another one called the Autographed Hound, and so I also used to have these on Laserdisc, and for some reason at some point I just decided to sell all those, which I kind of regret now that I sold those. I wish I still had them. I did transfer them to DVD before I sold them, but I think at the time I just needed the money. So anyways, here's one that centers around Daisy Duck, Donald's girlfriend, and It again has 6 or 7 short films, by about an hour's worth of TV time. This one has Mr. Duck Steps Out, Cured Duck, Dumbbell on the Yukon, are some of the ones that are in this cassette. Now we go to the limited gold edition 2 series, and I do have the Mickey cassette for this series, and again, this was the first time that Disney had ever released any of its cartoons on a, in a compilation like this. So you could, buy a whole cassette with 5 or 6 or 7 cartoons on it. So this was kind of unique for its time. And this one looks like it actually has some black and white Mickeys on it right here. So that looks like I'm not sure which one that is. That might be Shanghai. I'm not sure. It doesn't really give you the dates for each cartoon, which would have been nice to have. This is from 1938, or this one's from 1942 or whatever. But they didn't do that on these. Here's another one with called How the Best Was Won, 1933 to 1960. And again, these are one-up cartoons. Most of them are just not the Disney cavalcade of cartoon stars. This is just mostly really probably a lot of them are like silly symphonies and things where they just concentrated on a new character and the story around that character, and then the next film they moved on to something else. So it looks like this one does have a black and white Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse cartoon on it. And some of these do have the dates on them, so that's kind of nice. Looks like one called Building a Building was a Academy Award nominee, and it was from 1932-33, somewhere around there. But these I enjoy those, the ones that, I enjoy the ones with the regular Disney characters, but I also really like the ones where they kind of stepped out and did a different one. And here again, I have doubles of this one. This one's Life with Mickey again. So I have 2 of those. This one's World According to Goofy, and he's a popular Disney character, and all Goofy cartoons. So those are usually really good. And this one is 48 minutes long. So, and they're all in color. It appears that they're all in color too. And then again, we have the Disney Dream Factory, 1933 to 1938. And this one are probably lots of the Silly Symphony cartoons that they did. And this was the Silly Symphonies were films that really led up to them doing Fantasia, the theatrical film. And these were kind of the way they tested things. And the Silly Symphonies, I believe, were the, first series that was, all color, or, mostly all in color. And they were real experiments in animation. So you can see there are some of the illustrations from the short cartoons that are on this cassette. And lastly, we have a beta of An Officer and a Duck. And again, Donald, this looks like it may have some World War II era cartoons on it, potentially, that were done by the Disney studios. And this one is 45 minutes long, and it's they're all color. So Donald is for a lot of people, the funniest character. Him and Goofy, Donald and Goofy, are usually the ones that people think of as far as the fun characters. And Mickey is, a lot of people's favorites, but he was never as entertaining, I don't think, as Donald or Goofy. So anyways, this is nowhere near a complete set of these films, and I'd like to get this set complete, but I doubt if I'm ever going to be able to do that at the thrift stores. So I'm probably going to have to get on eBay at some point and order these. And of course, as the years go by, these are probably going to go up in value because they're kind of rare. So I probably need to do that sooner rather than later, because they're I don't want to spend a whole lot on them. But anyways, if you ever see them in the thrift stores, be sure to pick them up and add them to your collection. And the last thing I want to talk about today is our giveaway of the still in the box Mr. Wonderful. He still works. Let's try him out here.
You look so beautiful in the morning. No, you don't look at all fat in that dress. How could anything make you look fat?
There you go. That's just a few of the things that Mr. Wonderful says. No longer available in the stores. Very rare to find him still in the box. As you can see, I spent like $7 on Mr. Wonderful at the Goodwill. And in order to win Mr. Wonderful, and I will ship him to your home, is for one thing, one way you can get entered is to subscribe to my channel, and then in the comments area, tell me that you have subscribed to the channel, and I will enter your name. Let's say 2 weeks from today, I'll have a drawing. And also, the other way you can enter is, if you're already subscribed to this channel, go ahead and leave me a comment in the below this video, and your name will also be put in the hat and for the drawing for Mr. Wonderful. So I know I've been teasing this for a while on my channel, but I just couldn't seem to get around to getting to this. So finally, we're going to give away Mr. Wonderful to somebody. And so anyways, you guys like my channel, please, and subscribe and leave a comment, and hit that notification bell, and it'll let you know when I put out new videos. And then 2 weeks from today, we'll have the drawing for Mr. Wonderful. So why don't we let Mr. Wonderful say something, and then we'll be off to more thrifting. Have a good one.
Oh, can't your mother stay another week?